On a spring day in Kiev, 2006, the city's routine was shattered by a young man wandering the streets, lost and confused. He wore clothes decades out of style and clutched a vintage camera, looking at the modern world as if it were a dream. Approaching police, he asked for directions to a street that no longer existed. The officers, struck by his odd appearance and archaic speech, brought him in for questioning. At the station, he introduced himself as Sergei Ponomarenko, claiming it was 1958 and presenting documents from that era. Sergei insisted he was 25, but his ID said he should be 74 in 2006. The police psychiatrist, Dr. Kutrikov, found Sergei's story unwavering. He remembered only a walk in 1950s Kiev before waking in this strange future. The authorities were left with a puzzle. Was Sergei a hoaxer, delusional, or something far stranger? Thus began one of the most baffling mysteries Kiev had ever seen. Sergei's few possessions deepened the mystery, especially his old Yashima camera, loaded with undeveloped film. The police carefully developed the roll, revealing astonishing photos of 1950s Kiev, Soviet landmarks, crowds in period dress, and Sergei with his fiancée Valentina. The images looked authentic, as if plucked from another era. The final photo was the most shocking, a bell-shaped UFO hovering over the city. Sergei claimed he snapped the picture, then blacked out, waking up in 2006. Alongside his Soviet ID and Komsomol card, the photos seemed to offer physical proof of his story. The authorities were forced to consider the impossible. Was this man truly a time traveler? The evidence was compelling, and the case grew stranger by the hour. Sergei's tale was no longer just a curiosity. It was a challenge to reality itself. Investigators scoured archives and found a 1958 missing person report for Sergei Ponomarenko, a perfect match. The case had gone cold, but now Sergei had reappeared, unchanged, 50 years later. Using the old photo, police tracked down Valentina Kulik, now elderly. Shown the photo, she wept, confirming Sergei's identity and his mysterious disappearance in 1958. But Valentina revealed a twist. Sergei had briefly reappeared in the 1970s, unchanged, before vanishing again. She produced a photo Sergei gave her then, himself, older, standing before a futuristic Kiev skyline, dated Kiev, 2050. The city in the image was filled with impossible architecture and flying vehicles. Sergei had promised he'd return for good. The evidence suggested Sergei was unstuck in time, bouncing between decades. The story was no longer just about the past. It hinted at a future yet to come. The mystery deepened, leaving everyone grasping for answers. Sergei became a person of intense interest, held under observation in a locked, monitored room. For days he spoke quietly with Dr. Kutrikov, describing his lost life and the shock of the modern world. Security footage showed nothing unusual, until the night of April 25th. A guard entered to deliver Sergei's meal and found the room empty. The window was barred, the door locked, and no one had entered or left. Reviewing the surveillance tape, authorities watched in disbelief as Sergei, lying on his bed, simply faded away, vanishing before their eyes. No escape, no trick, just a man disappearing into thin air. Sergei had arrived from nowhere, and now he was gone, leaving only questions behind. The authorities were left with a mystery that defied all explanation. For years, Sergei's story was hailed as one of the most convincing time travel cases ever. Photos, documents, and video evidence circulated online, fueling belief in the impossible. But scrutiny revealed cracks. YouTuber Joe Scott traced the story's origins to a Ukrainian TV show called Aliens. The show specialized in dramatic reenactments, blurring fact and fiction for entertainment. The evidence was staged, photos manipulated, futuristic skylines crudely edited, and no official records existed. The cast of characters from police to psychiatrists were likely actors. The entire narrative was a scripted drama, not a real event. Yet the legend persisted, captivating audiences who wanted to believe. The truth was clear: Sergei Ponomarenko was a creation of television, not a traveler through time. The story was a modern myth, expertly crafted for the digital age. Despite being debunked, Sergei's tale thrives online, shared as a real mystery by new generations. Its appeal endures because it taps into our fascination with time travel and the unknown. Sergei is an ordinary man in extraordinary circumstances. his love and loss making the story deeply human. The narrative unfolds like a perfect mystery, each twist adding intrigue. Even knowing it's fiction, people are drawn to the wonder and possibility it evokes. The story is a case study in modern folklore, how a convincing narrative can become an urban legend. Sergei Ponomarenko remains a ghost on the internet, not by a UFO, but by the power of storytelling. Sometimes we want to believe in magic, even when the truth is far more ordinary.